Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So we have been witnessing some pretty big moves being made around this presidential admin to really kind of open up the floodgates for crypto and blockchain technology in general. And one thing that I have been noticing is a lot of the moves being made by, Trump around this tech. Now, obviously, yes, does he have a few people speaking into his ear, telling him what to do? I'm sure he does. But between David Sachs and the Crypto Council, I'm sure that he's getting guided by, some of the smartest people, some of the most experienced people around crypto as well. Now, is there some pros and cons to that? AKA, is there Bitcoin maxis telling him what to do? I'm sure there is, but you got to also think about it like this. That recent crypto meeting where Brad Garlinghouse was present, I'm sure that they spoke quite a bit about a lot of things outside of Bitcoin, specifically how to modernize our payment systems, how we could utilize this technology in specific ways. So I'm not too concerned about the fact that all right, well, Bitcoin's going to get the green light while, XRP and Altcoin just kind of take a back seat. I don't believe that that is the case because I've seen that comment many times over the last couple of weeks. But let's start off this video talking about Congress because Ron Hammond from Blockchain Association recently put out a post regarding this week in Congress and crypto, where he did say Congress is back and grind continues with key nomination hearings and moving the ball further on stablecoin legislation. Even for being the easier crypto priority for Congress, there are still plenty of hurdles before it becomes law. Starting with most important this week, that on Thursday, Banking GOP will consider Paul Atkins for the SEC chair, which, by the way, that's actually that's a big one, especially for even Ripple, because we know Brad Garlinghouse did rep Paul Atkins in a big way. So I'm sure that he's aware of how pro crypto Paul Atkins is, and I do expect that to be actually a pretty good nomination for the SEC chair. We also have Jonathan Gold to lead the OCC and Luke Pettit as Assistant Secretary of Financial Institutions. All pro-crypto, all have worked on the issue for years, all great to have. Despite not even having a confirmed chair, the SEC is busy both in rectifying several court cases and hosting their first ever roundtable on digital assets. The complex questions the Crypto Task Force are running in parallel to many conversations the Hill is having too. These market structure related questions carry huge implications, and it's good seeing the SEC listen to a wide array of views, both pro and against the industry, especially as Congress looks to tackle market structure after stablecoins. The timing couldn't be more crucial. This brings us to stablecoins. Historically, the Senate Banking Committee doesn't vote on much at all, but when they do, usually it becomes law. The last major bill to get a vote was a regulatory relief bill back in 2017, and stablecoins got more support than that. For those who didn't watch the 3-hour stablecoin debate and vote, one of the more peculiar instances was Senator Warren publicly touting support for various amendments from the bank lobbying groups, odd on a lot of levels, but when is crypto policy not? None of those amendments made it into bill, but it is a reminder of the other stakeholders involved in the stablecoin debate and telling which sectors have their various political backing. Usually crypto isn't the one with politically advantageous numbers, but it does now. The next phase for stablecoins is a vote in front of the entire Senate. Meanwhile, the House begins their process on tackling stablecoins, and it seems Financial Committee has slated a vote on their bill for next week. Eventually, that bill will need to be combined with the Senate's by Congress standards. This is a very aggressive pace, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. The speed can be attributed to both years of debate on this topic by Congress already, and now explicit buy-in from the White House to get stablecoins over the finish line. This means as early as summer, we could have a finalized stablecoin bill getting a strong bipartisan vote and on its way to the president's desk. This frees up Congress to tackle the next crypto legislative beast, market structure, and that will be a much longer process. But outside of that, yeah, we're starting to see some pretty big moves. And on top of that, we also got this big update from the Banking GOP, which is news. The FDIC Gov is going to eliminate the use of reputational risk as a component of bank supervision. This follows the committee's passage of Senator Tim Scott's FIRM Act, which would codify the elimination of reputational risk across all federal banking regulators. Now, this is a huge move because we even have from David Sachs saying big win for crypto. FDIC Gov is following the US OCC's lead in removing reputational risk as a factor in bank supervision. And if you guys don't remember, here we actually have that big update from the OCC back on March 7th, where we did see a big update around how US banks can now be validators on public networks, custody crypto for customers, and hold stablecoins. This is a $1 trillion announcement. But also we have here, reputational risk may sound good in theory, but it was defined as the potential that negative publicity regarding an institution's business practices, whether true or not, will cause a decline in the customer base, costly litigation, or revenue reductions. In practice, this vague and subjective criteria was used to justify the debanking of lawful crypto businesses through Operation Choke Point 2.0. Banking criteria should be objective and quantitative, not based on the potential for untrue stories. Thank you, Senator Tim Scott, for your leadership on this via the Firm Act. And yeah, it is a huge win for crypto. And just think about what's been happening over the last couple weeks. I mean, we have been witnessing some very big updates happening around crypto, specifically within the banking side of things. And even over here, we did have a podcast update from Tokenized Podcast, where they did bring in Coy Sheffield from Visa, head of crypto at Visa. We have here the OCC has recently greenlit crypto propositions for banks. This includes allowing banks to provide crypto custody, which was made almost impossible by the recently rescinded SAB 121, allowing banks to take deposits for stablecoin reserves, allowing banks to host nodes on a blockchain to participate in stablecoin transactions, including as a validator. Check this out real quick.
And so, as the general market and interest and demand and growth of stablecoins in the space has come back, as we talk to banks across the U.S., that's been one of the things that they pointed to. They've said we've got this OCC guidance that requires a non-objection, and so yes, we're interested in the space. We'd like to do things in the space, but this is really hard for us to really do anything if we have to go and get a non-objection. And so now having this updated guidance that doesn't require a non-objection, it enables a path for banks to put together a plan, work on a POC, start looking at what partnerships, infrastructure providers that they can have, and have confidence that it's not to say that banks don't have to manage the risk and worry about the risk. That's a big part of what banking is how do you manage and mitigate risk.
So yeah, I mean, listen, banks are getting the green light for crypto in a huge way now. So it feels as if we are on the cusp of that watershed moment for, banks to just pile in. And Monica Long told us this as well. And it all really begins with regulations to reinforce this. And I think that we're getting there. Now, I bring this all up because I want to go over to this huge announcement, which happened on the 25th. So just yesterday, Trump modernizes Treasury payments to reduce fraud. President Trump signed an executive order aimed at modernizing the U.S. Treasury's payment systems. The order centralizes the 47 previously independent payment systems and mandates the use of the Do Not Pay list to combat fraud, waste, and abuse. This initiative shifts towards electronic payment methods to enhance efficiency and reduce the likelihood of fraudulent activities, which are significantly higher with paper checks. Now, mind you, Elon Musk recently said that we should put a lot of things around the US government on chain. This could very well be the beginning of the US payment system moving on chain. But listen closely to this video clip, because here we have all of the breakdowns around, this big update. But check it out.
We have an executive order for your attention relating actually to government payments. Historically, checks issued by the Treasury are, I believe, 14 times more likely to become the subject of fraud than electronic transfer payments. This is an executive order that's going to push the Treasury Department to modernize its payment system to ensure that where possible they're using electronic methods of payment as opposed to paper checks in order to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in the government, which is obviously an endeavor that we've been pursuing in numerous aspects of government under your leadership.
It's basically modernization of equipment and methods, and it's something that really I think he's going to be a great Secretary of the Treasury wanted, Scott, and so we're doing this, and we have other modernization programs going on. We could let somebody else, whoever's next, whoever that may be, do it, but it's something that should have been done 25, 30 years ago.
So there we have it, right? Now, the big question is, will this lead to blockchain and DLT being tapped in? Because I feel as if we're getting very, very close to it. We've heard Elon Musk talk about it. We know that Trump is aware of how significant blockchain and crypto is becoming. And don't forget that Trump also posted significantly about Ripple back in February on Truth Social. Big shout out to Pink XRP for this. Remember, where he posted 2 articles about Ripple. This was the Trump effect one around the Ripple Labs US deals and XRP gains. And then over here, we also saw another one, which was a very similar article as well. It was this one, where Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said that 75% of open rules are now US-based due to the Trump effect. But not to even mention the fact that they did meet with Trump back in the beginning of January. And a big shout out to Anderson, because this does speak volumes on what I have been thinking as well. He said Trump admin will do whatever they can to make sure that the US-based crypto dominates the crypto market, along with a US-based company that's holding nearly half the supply. That US-based company named Ripple will also expand the US dollar around the world thanks to issuing its own US dollar stablecoin RLUSD. That company has also created and perfected their own B2B cross-border payment system that's rivaling SWIFT, which has to adhere to US sanctions, which will go hand in hand with their stablecoin. I mean, it's so obvious why Trump would favor Ripple that even making this post seems unnecessary. And yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we don't even have to speculate on this. We don't have to be biased on this. Just think logically, take a step back, look at all of the customer, stories that they have labeled out on their website. Look at all of the companies that they actually work with, like Bank of America, for an example, and all of the additional big banks like HSBC, for an example. Guys, Ripple's in a completely different league of its own. And I say this because when we think about what's actually happening here, if we really are serious about modernizing the payment system in the US, now this is treasury payments, okay? But if we are going to modernize the entire US financial system as we know it, which will also lead to the modernization of the global financial system, what better tech than tapping into what Ripple has been providing for their over 500 plus organizations, their institutional, partners. I mean, if you think about all of the solutions here, they have everything all in, one spot. Like, this is an umbrella of all the types of solutions that you could ever need if you really wanted to modernize your payment system. Payments, custody, stablecoins, tokenization, everything all in one shop. That's what Ripple is providing here. But this is a huge move. This is a huge move because I do think that this is the beginning of what's to come. And I do believe that new technology will start to be tapped in here to actually modernize and revolutionize the payment system in the US. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.